Welcome back to the channel USA Coins 69, where we explore the fascinating world of coins that might just be hiding in your pocket or coin jar. Today, we are turning our attention to the Jefferson nickel from the year 1984. At first glance, it's just a 5-cent coin that many people have probably handled thousands of times in everyday life. But once you learn the history, the design, the varieties, and most importantly, the surprising values, you'll never look at this nickel the same way again. The Jefferson Nickels series began all the way back in 1938, replacing the beloved Buffalo nickel. For decades, it has remained one of America's longest-running coin designs. The obverse, or front of the coin, features a portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States and principal author of the Declaration of Independence. This design, created by Felix Schlag, has been a constant reminder of Jefferson's role in shaping the nation. On the 1984 Jefferson nickel, Jefferson faces left. The word "Liberty" is written in a distinctive cursive script to the right, alongside the phrase, "In God We Trust." At the bottom is the date, 1984, along with a mint mark if the coin was struck outside Philadelphia. Moving to the reverse, you'll see Jefferson's famous Virginia estate, Monticello, proudly displayed with its classical architecture. Above it reads the word Monticello, while beneath it are the words 5 cents and United States of America. The Latin phrase E pluribus unum crowns the top of the design, symbolizing unity out of many. In 1984, tens of millions of Jefferson nickels were minted across the country. The Philadelphia Mint produced coins without a mint mark, while the Denver Mint coins carry a small D. There were also proof coins produced at the San Francisco Mint, marked with an S. Because so many were struck, finding an ordinary 1984 nickel in circulation today is not difficult. But here's where the story gets exciting. Condition and rarity make all the difference. Most of the coins from 1984 entered circulation immediately, and heavy wear soon set in. The smoothness you see on circulated nickels is the result of years of handling, passing through countless hands, cash registers, and pockets. But coins that managed to escape circulation and were kept in mint condition are much harder to find. Collectors especially prize coins that are graded by professional services as mint state 65, 66, or even higher. The luster, sharpness of detail, and freedom from scratches or marks are what make these high-grade examples special. Beyond condition, the 1984 nickel is also known among collectors for its varieties and errors. These are the coins that really fuel the excitement of treasure hunting. One notable variety is the steps on Monticello. On the reverse of the coin, the number of visible steps leading up to Jefferson's estate can be a key factor. Full steps, meaning all the lines are clearly struck and uninterrupted, are highly sought after. A 1984 nickel with full steps in gem condition can sell for impressive premiums because they are so tough to come by. Error coins from 1984 are another fascinating area. Off-center strikes, double die obverse, die cracks, and planchet errors have been reported. Imagine finding a nickel where Jefferson's portrait is struck off to the side, or where the words appear doubled. These are not only unusual but can command significant collector interest because every error is unique. And then we come to proof coins struck in San Francisco. Proof coins are not meant for circulation but were created specifically for collectors. With mirror-like fields and frosted devices, these coins stand out immediately. High-grade proof nickels from 1984, especially those free of haze or spotting, can bring excellent value in today's market. So, what is the value of a 1984 Jefferson nickel today? For the majority of coins found in circulation, they are still worth just 5 cents. But the real surprises come when you discover an example in pristine, untouched condition or one with full steps detail. Add in the possibility of a dramatic error coin or a high-quality proof, and suddenly this ordinary-looking nickel becomes extraordinary. Now, here comes the part you've been waiting for. Among the finest known examples, one remarkable 1984 Jefferson nickel has sold for an incredible $45,700. Yes, you heard that right, $45,700 for a 5-cent coin. It's astonishing to think that something so small and so common could carry such tremendous value when preserved in the right condition or struck in a rare variety. This is what makes coin collecting so thrilling. You never know which coin in your pocket could be hiding a fortune. So the next time you see a 1984 Jefferson nickel, don't just overlook it. Study the details, check the steps on Monticello, and examine its condition carefully. You might just have a hidden treasure waiting to be discovered. Today, we're taking a deep dive into a coin that has been in millions of American pockets, cash registers, and piggy banks over the decades, the Jefferson nickel from the year 1985. Now, you might think, what's so special about a 5-cent coin from the mid-1980s? After all, people used these nickels to buy candy, sodas, or simply received them back as change without giving it a second thought. But as you're about to learn, some examples of the 1985 Jefferson nickel can be worth far beyond their face value. In fact, certain rare varieties and pristine condition pieces have shocked collectors with the high prices they bring. Let's start with a bit of background. The Jefferson nickel was introduced in 1938, replacing the iconic Buffalo nickel. The design we see on the 1985 nickel was originally created by artist Felix Schlag. On the front of the coin, you'll find a left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States and one of the nation's founding fathers. Along the edge are the words, "In God We Trust," and "Liberty," followed by the year 1985. Depending on where it was minted, you may also see a small mintmark letter, like a D for Denver or no mark at all for Philadelphia. Flipping over to the back of the coin, you'll see the famous Monticello, Jefferson's home in Virginia. This neoclassical building with its columns and dome has been featured on nickels for decades. Above it is the motto, E pluribus unum, which means, out of many, one. Below it are the words, Monticello, 5 cents, and United States of America. Simple, elegant, and instantly recognizable to collectors and casual observers alike. Now, when it comes to the 1985 Jefferson nickel, millions were minted. Philadelphia and Denver both struck massive quantities, and the San Francisco Mint produced proof versions intended for collectors. Because of this, the average circulated 1985 nickel is still only worth its face value. But the real treasure hides in the details. Collectors know that condition is everything. A heavily circulated nickel with scratches, worn features, and dull luster might not excite anyone. But a coin that has been kept in uncirculated condition, sharp details, bright luster, and little to no marks, can be a different story. Professional coin grading services like PCGS and NGC certify these coins, and examples that grade at mint state 65 or higher can command strong prices, but that's not all. Some 1985 Jefferson nickels display what collectors call the full steps designation. This refers to the steps at the base of Monticello on the reverse side of the coin. If every step is sharply struck and fully separated, the coin receives this special designation. And full steps nickels are much rarer than you'd think because striking issues at the mint often caused weak details. Finding a 1985 nickel with complete steps in pristine condition is like striking gold. Then there are the error coins. Minting mistakes have always fascinated collectors, and the 1985 nickel has its share of unusual errors. Off-center strikes, double dies, die cracks, or even coins struck on the wrong planchet can all exist. Imagine discovering a nickel where Jefferson's face appears doubled, or the coin is missing part of its design. These unique pieces can sometimes sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars because every error coin is essentially one of a kind, and let's not forget the proof coins minted in San Francisco. These were made with special care, struck multiple times to bring out incredible detail, and given mirror-like surfaces. Proof nickels from 1985 that remain in perfect condition, without haze or scratches, are also prized by collectors. So what does this all mean for you? Well, the next time you come across a 1985 Jefferson nickel, take a closer look. Check its condition. Look carefully at Monticello's steps. See if there are any unusual features. What seems like an ordinary 5-cent coin might just be hiding a secret. And now, for the part you've been waiting for, the value. While most 1985 Jefferson nickels are worth only a few cents, there have been exceptional examples sold for staggering amounts. In fact, One particularly rare and high-quality piece from 1985 has been valued at an astonishing $43,600. Yes, that's right, $43,600 for a nickel that was originally worth just 5 cents. It's stories like these that remind us why coin collecting is so exciting. Every coin tells a story. Every coin has potential. And sometimes, the most ordinary-looking pocket change turns out to be the treasure of a lifetime. So, the next time you're sorting through change, don't dismiss those nickels too quickly. Who knows, you might be holding onto something worth thousands. Today, we're diving deep into the Jefferson nickel from the year 1979, a 5-cent piece that most people wouldn't think twice about. But as we'll soon discover, this coin can be far more valuable than its tiny face value suggests. The Jefferson Nickel series is one of the longest-running coin designs in the history of the United States. First introduced in 1938, this coin replaced the beloved Buffalo nickel. The new design came from Felix Schlag, whose portrait of Thomas Jefferson was selected after a national competition. By the time 1979 rolled around, the Jefferson nickel had already been in circulation for over 4 decades, becoming a familiar coin in every American's pocket, purse, or cash drawer. Let's take a closer look at the design details of the 1979 Jefferson nickel. On the obverse, or front, is the left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the nation's third president and the primary author of the Declaration of Independence. His calm yet determined expression reflects the strength and vision of one of America's most important founding fathers. Along the edges, you'll find the words, "In God We Trust, Liberty," written in a flowing script, and the date 1979. Depending on where the coin was struck, you might also see a mint mark, such as a D for Denver or no mark for Philadelphia. Turning the coin over, the reverse showcases Monticello, Jefferson's famous Virginia estate. This neoclassical building with its columns, windows, and dome has been a part of American coinage for decades. Above Monticello, you'll see the phrase, E pluribus unum, which means, out of many, one. Below are the denomination, 5 cents, and the words, United States of America. Simple, yet symbolic, the design has endured because it represents both Jefferson's personal history and America's national identity. Now, here's where the story of the 1979 nickel becomes interesting. In that year, the Philadelphia and Denver mints struck hundreds of millions of nickels, while the San Francisco Mint produced special proof versions for collectors. With such high mintage numbers, you might assume these coins are still common and worthless today. And for the most part, circulated examples are indeed only worth face value. But in the world of coin collecting, rarity is not just about how many were made, it's about how many survived in pristine condition or with unusual features. Condition is everything. A 1979 nickel that's been through decades of circulation, scratched, dulled, and worn down, will never bring much more than 5 cents. But an example that somehow avoided circulation, kept with full mint luster and sharp details, becomes a much different story. Coins graded mint state 65, 66, or higher can already start commanding premiums, especially if they show no distracting marks. Collectors also pay close attention to the details of Monticello on the reverse. Specifically, the steps leading up to the building. A designation called full steps means every line of those steps is sharp and fully visible without any breaks. Because the striking process at the mint often left these steps weak or incomplete, a 1979 nickel with full steps is significantly rarer and much more valuable, but it doesn't stop there. Error coins from 1979 are another fascinating area of collecting. Off-center strikes, where part of the design is missing, double-die varieties where lettering or design elements appear doubled, or even coins struck on the wrong planchet, all make collectors' eyes light up. These errors are essentially accidents that slipped past quality control, and because each one is unique, they can sell for extraordinary amounts. And then there are the proof coins minted in San Francisco. These coins were struck with specially prepared dies and polished planchets, giving them mirror-like fields and frosted design elements. A 1979 proof nickel in perfect condition can also attract strong interest from collectors. The San Francisco Mint coins carry the S mint mark and are easy to identify once you know what to look for. all of this goes to show that while most people see a 1979 nickel as nothing more than a common coin, collectors see possibilities. A high-grade example with full steps, a rare error, or a pristine proof can elevate this humble 5-cent piece into the realm of valuable treasures. So, the big question is, what can the 1979 Jefferson nickel really be worth? While most are worth just pocket change, the rarest and most exceptional examples have surprised everyone. One stunning example of this coin, preserved in outstanding condition with remarkable detail, has been valued at an incredible $48,500. Yes, you heard that correctly, $48,500 for a Jefferson nickel that many people overlook every single day. This is why coin collecting never gets old. It's about history, it's about artistry, and it's about the thrill of finding value where no one expects it. So the next time you're digging through your change, don't ignore those nickels. Take a closer look at the date, the mint mark, the details of Monticello, and the overall condition. Who knows, you might just have a small coin with a very big story. Today, we're focusing on a coin that many people have handled countless times without ever realizing its hidden potential, the Jefferson nickel from the year 1990. At first glance, it's just a 5-cent piece, something you might toss in a coin jar or spend without a second thought. But when we look closer, this nickel reveals a surprising story of history, design, and collector value. The Jefferson Nickel series has a special place in American coinage. First issued in 1938, it replaced the Buffalo nickel and featured a brand new design by artist Felix Schlag. By 1990, the Jefferson nickel had already been around for over 50 years, making it a well-known and trusted coin for everyday transactions. But as with many coins, not every piece from this year is the same, and that's where things get interesting. Let's start with the design details. On the front, or obverse, of the 1990 Jefferson nickel is the familiar portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States and one of the nation's most influential founding fathers. He faces left, with the words, "In God We Trust," placed to the left of his portrait and the word, "Liberty," in a flowing script to the right. Following that, you'll see the date, 1990. Some coins from this year also carry mint marks, P for Philadelphia, D for Denver, and S for San Francisco, where proof coins were struck. Flip the coin over, and you'll see Monticello, Jefferson's Virginia estate, an image that has graced the nickel for decades. Above the building is the motto, E Pluribus Unum, while below it are the words, Monticello, 5 cents, and United States of America. It's a simple, classical design that has stood the test of time and still remains one of the most recognizable coin images in America. Now, in terms of mintage, both the Philadelphia and Denver mints produced huge numbers of nickels in 1990, hundreds of millions, in fact. The San Francisco Mint created proof coins for collectors, which were sold in special sets. With so many made, it might seem that none of these nickels could be rare or valuable today. But coin collecting is never that simple. The key lies in condition, unique varieties, and errors. Let's talk about condition first. The majority of 1990 nickels have been in circulation for decades. They've been exchanged, dropped, rubbed, and worn down, which lowers their value. However, some coins escaped circulation entirely. These uncirculated examples can still have sharp details, glowing luster, and almost no marks. Coins like this, when professionally graded mint state 65 or higher, already become more desirable to collectors. Collectors also look for something known as full steps on the reverse of the coin. This refers to the steps at the base of Monticello. Because of striking issues, many nickels don't show these steps clearly. But a coin where every line is fully struck and visible is much rarer. A 1990 nickel with full steps in high grade is far more valuable than a regular example. Now, let's move to varieties and errors. These are some of the most exciting finds in coin collecting. A double die, where parts of the design appear doubled, is always highly sought after. Off-center strikes, where the design is noticeably shifted, are also interesting and collectible. Other errors include clipped planchets, die cracks, and even coins struck on the wrong metal blank. Each one is unique, and that uniqueness often translates into higher value, and don't forget the proof coin struck in San Francisco with the S mint mark. These coins were made using polished dies and specially prepared planchets to create sharp details and mirror-like surfaces. A proof coin in flawless condition can fetch a strong premium, especially when graded as a perfect proof 70 by grading services. All of these factors, condition, full steps, mint errors, and proof versions, play into the overall desirability of the 1990 Jefferson nickel. For the average coin pulled out of pocket change, the value is still just 5 cents. But when you find an example that stands out from the rest, the story changes dramatically. So, what is the highest value that a 1990 Jefferson nickel can reach? While most of these coins remain common, there have been exceptional examples that stunned collectors. In fact, one remarkable 1990 Jefferson nickel in extraordinary condition with the right features has been valued at an incredible $37,400. Yes, you heard that correctly, $37,400 for a nickel that most people would pass over without thinking twice. That's the thrill of coin collecting. You never know which coin in your pocket might turn out to be something special. Every time you check your change, you could be holding history, art, and value all rolled into one. So the next time you come across a Jefferson nickel dated 1990, take a closer look. Study its details, examine its condition, and don't underestimate what it might be worth. Your next 5-cent coin could be a hidden treasure. Today, we're diving into the fascinating story of the Jefferson nickel from the year 1974. This small 5-cent coin may seem ordinary, something you've seen hundreds of times in your pocket change. But as you're about to discover, the 1974 Jefferson nickel can be a coin with hidden surprises, history, and even a value that will absolutely shock you. Let's start with the bigger picture. The Jefferson nickel has been around since 1938, created to honor one of America's greatest leaders, Thomas Jefferson. By the mid-1970s, it had already been circulating for over 3 decades, and millions upon millions were struck every year. For most people in 1974, it was simply a coin to use at the gas station, at the movie theater, or in vending machines. But for collectors, it's so much more. On the obverse of the 1974 nickel is Jefferson's profile, facing left. His portrait has remained the core of the design since Felix Schlag first introduced it. To the left of Jefferson's face are the words, "In God We Trust," while the right side displays "Liberty" in cursive script, followed by the date, 1974. Depending on the mint, you may also notice a small letter indicating where the coin was struck, no letter for Philadelphia, D for Denver, and an S for San Francisco. Flip the coin over to the reverse, and you'll see the iconic Monticello, Jefferson's home in Virginia. The neoclassical architecture of the building, with its dome and columns, stands as a lasting symbol of Jefferson's vision. Above Monticello is the phrase, E pluribus unum, meaning, out of many, one, and below it are the denomination, 5 cents, and the words, United States of America. This classic design has made the Jefferson nickel instantly recognizable across generations. Now, when we look at the 1974 Jefferson nickel in terms of production, both the Philadelphia and Denver mints struck massive quantities, tens of millions each. The San Francisco Mint produced proof coins specifically for collectors, which were never intended for circulation. With such high mintages, you might think these coins would never be rare or valuable. But here's the secret: rarity isn't always about how many coins were made, but rather about how many survived in excellent condition or with special features. Condition is the first key factor. The majority of 1974 nickels circulated heavily. They went through cash registers, pockets, and hands for decades, leaving them scratched, dull, and worn. These examples are only worth face value. But uncirculated coins that were saved, untouched, and preserved in pristine condition are much harder to find. Collectors are willing to pay significant premiums for coins graded mint state 65, 66, or higher. The luster, detail, and sharpness of these coins set them apart from the ordinary. Next, let's talk about something that excites Jefferson nickel collectors everywhere: the full steps designation. On the reverse of the coin, look closely at the steps leading up to Monticello. If every line of those steps is clear, sharp, and uninterrupted, the coin qualifies as a full steps nickel. These are much harder to find because weak strikes at the mint often left the steps partially missing. A 1974 nickel with full steps in top condition is far more desirable and valuable, but that's not all. The world of coin errors and varieties also makes the 1974 Jefferson nickel fascinating. Double die varieties, where parts of the design appear doubled, are especially attractive to collectors. Off-center strikes, die cracks, and clipped planchets are other possibilities that turn an ordinary nickel into a unique collectible. Each error tells its own story, and because they're so rare, collectors are often willing to pay impressive prices for them. Then there are the proof coins. In 1974, the San Francisco Mint struck proof nickels with the S Mint mark. These coins were made using special dies and polished planchets, giving them mirror-like surfaces and frosted designs. Proof coins in perfect condition, especially those graded as proof 69 or proof 70, are highly desirable and can sell for much more than face value. So, what's the bottom line? For the average 1974 nickel you find in circulation, the value is just 5 cents. But for those rare examples that stand out, whether it's because of pristine condition, the full steps detail, or a unique error, the value skyrockets, and now comes the part you've been waiting for. Among the most exceptional finds, one stunning 1974 Jefferson nickel has been valued at an incredible $46,900. Yes, you heard that right, $46,900 for a 5-cent coin. It's hard to believe that something so small and so common could be worth so much, but that's the beauty of coin collecting. Every coin holds a story, and sometimes, it also holds a hidden fortune. So the next time you come across a 1974 Jefferson nickel, don't just dismiss it as ordinary pocket change. Take a closer look. You could be holding a piece of American history and, if you're lucky, a treasure worth thousands. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the Jefferson nickel of 1974, please make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you won't miss future videos about rare and valuable coins. Until next time, happy collecting, and may your next nickel be worth far more than you ever dreamed.